Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. Baseball begins as the regular season is underway. A high-flying start in Cincinnati gets off on the ground floor as the Reds raise the curtain with a victory in the Grand Ole Game's traditional opener. The Tigers head into the future in fine form, but Boston blasts off with a bang before Detroit initiates a comeback at square one. A fresh commencement is good news for a future Hall of Famer, but at this year's outset, two other shoo-ins fail to get the go-ahead. The president fires away to inaugurate the campaign, but at the inception, a Baltimore original comes out short as Cleveland kicks off with a win. So let's get this show on the road, y'all, right here on This Week in Baseball, celebrating our 10th anniversary. American League opener. In Detroit, the Tigers claw back to beat Boston. The season got rolling in Motown, where the Tigers are looking to stand tall again with the kind of heads-up ball they played in '84. Staff ace Jack Morris got the opening day start, and his first order of business was Boston's Dwight Evans.
We are ready for the first pitch of the '86 season, and here it is. Long drive, left center field. Way back, left center, and gone. Home run, Dwight Evans. My goodness.
No sooner had the umpire said play ball than the Red Sox were on the board. But Tiger manager Sparky Anderson knew he had some weapons of his own, like Kirk Gibson, who batted in the fourth with a man on. The score tied at 2. Gibson's upper deck shot gave Detroit its first lead, but it didn't last long. Boston skipper John McNamara countered with an arsenal of his own that includes new Red Soxer Don Baylor, who batted with a man on in the 7th. Baylor's long ball tied the game once again and set the stage for Boston's next batter, catcher Rich Gedman. Going, it is gone. And the Red Sox were back on top. But Kirk Gibson wasn't through. In the 7th, with new Boston reliever Sammy Stewart on the mound, Gibson batted with a man aboard.
And a long drive. It's gone way back out of here. Gibby has done it again.
I don't think I've ever seen a better opening day in my life.
He has done it again. And the Tigers take the lead.
It was left to reliever Willie Hernandez to protect that lead and collect the save as the Tigers took a wild one to start the season. Next up, Baltimore, where an Indian uprising shot down the Orioles. President Reagan was on hand at Memorial Stadium to throw out the first ball before a regular season record crowd of more than 52,000. But neither he nor the fans could help manager Earl Weaver, back for his first opener in 3 years, because new Indian pitcher Ken Schramm was commander-in-chief on the mound. Mel Hall wasn't supposed to start, but as a last-minute replacement, he came through loud and clear with a 2-run double. When the Indians went to their bullpen, they called on a healthy Ernie Camacho. Baltimore hoped to make sweet music against him, but instead it was Camacho who struck all the right notes to save a 6-4 victory. Injured most of last year, Macho Man looks back in top form. Now let's move on to Chicago, where the Brewers ripped holes in the White Sox. Opening day formalities at Comiskey Park included first ball honors from Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears coach Mike Ditka, but it wasn't enough to prevent Tom Seaver from suffering the loss. Sox fans had to take consolation in the play of Carlton Fisk in left field, the former catcher's new position this year.
We need his bat in there as much of the 162 games as we possibly can, and we felt like it was a good decision. But again, it's only because of the ability of Carlton Fisk that allows us to even think that move.
Sox manager Tony La Russa had no thought of making a move when Brewers shortstop Ernie Riles batted in the 5th with the score tied, but Riles made La Russa think twice by cracking a 2-run homer that stood up as the game-winning blast. Meanwhile, second-year pitcher Teddy Higuera was king of the hill, striking out 5 in 7 innings and picking up the win. Final score, 5-3 Milwaukee, much to the chagrin of Chicago fans who saw the Sox leave 11 men on base, while the Brewers stranded only 3. Now let's open the notebook for This Week in Baseball's TWIB notes from around the American League. Phil Niekro is a certain Hall of Famer. He won 16 games for the New York Yankees in each of the last 2 years, including career victory number 300 on the final day of '85. But just before this season began, the Yankees released him.
Evidently, I don't know, they must think I'm going to break down sooner or later. I feel great, my arm, my legs, everything. I'm mentally and physically like the game as I did 27 years ago in that first game of spring training. So it's just almost like every year I've got to show people that don't look at me as a 47-year-old pitcher, or don't sign me as a 47-year-old pitcher. Sign me and want me to play for you because I've done well for you for the past year or two.
But Niekro wasn't out of work long because Cleveland promptly signed him.
I was 47. It didn't seem to matter to this organization. And I didn't want to come here as a 47-year-old pitcher, even though I am, and I can't help that. I had a birthday. I wanted to come here because I can get the ball and pitch. And I think that's what they wanted me to do.
But Rod Carew has been less fortunate. Another future Hall of Famer, 40-year-old Carew, is a career .328 hitter who's won 7 batting crowns. But he was released by the Angels after last year, the season in which he collected career hit number 3,000. So far this year, though, no takers. Same story for 39-year-old Raleigh Fingers, the all-time saves leader with 341. Released by Milwaukee after last season, Fingers also spent 4 years with San Diego, 8 with Oakland. Offered a tryout by the Reds this spring, the future Hall of Famer declined when told he'd have to shave off his trademark handlebar mustache.
We have this policy, and therefore when I mentioned that to Raleigh, he said, well, I can't shave off my mustache. And so I said, well, I'm sorry, we can't do business then. And that's exactly what happened.
Texas Ranger rookie Jose Guzman went 8 innings to beat Toronto before an opening day record crowd of more than 40,000. Guzman's victory marked the first time a rookie starter has won an opening game since the Dodgers' Fernando Valenzuela did it in 1981. Mariner fans filled up the scorecard trying to keep track of Jim Presley in Seattle's opener against California. Batting in the bottom of the 9th with a man on and Seattle down by 2, Presley hammered a homer that sent the game into extra innings. Now picture this. Bottom of the 10th, Presley at the plate, 2 out, bases loaded, and Presley does it again. This time a grand slam to win the game 8-4. Man, how about that? New Yankee manager Lou Piniella made a successful debut before an opening day record crowd of more than 55,000. A 3-run homer by Butch Weiniger in the second inning turned out to be the game winner. New York got heat when it counted from reliever Dave Righetti, who struck out the last 2 batters with the bases loaded to preserve a 4-2 win over the world champion Kansas City Royals. Nothing to it, right, Lou? Until the next night, that is, when Kansas City won. And now it's time for this week's quiz, brought to you by Nissan, builders of high-quality cars and trucks for over 50 years. Tom Seaver added to his all-time record of opening day starts when he pitched number 16 this season. The number 16 is also significant for Seaver in another way, because that's how many seasons he's won more games than he's lost. One more winning season and Seaver will tie Hall of Famer Warren Spahn for 3rd on the all-time list. Now for this week's quiz, which pitcher holds the mark for most winning seasons? For Pete's sake, stay tuned in. National League debut in Cincinnati, a big league tradition continues. Riverfront Stadium, the scene, raring to go Reds the team, time to shout and scream.
Hello, everybody. This is This Week in Baseball. Welcome to Cincinnati for opening day 1986.
Thanks, John. And because Cincinnati is the traditional site for baseball's opener, let's take in the sights and sounds of preparation for Game 1 of a new season.
Cincinnati Reds opening day.
Do you have any tickets for today's game?
No tickets for today's game are all sold out.
Scorecards, lineups, programs, opening day here. Play ball.
The two sweetest words in all of sports, and heeding the call were the Reds and Phillies. Cincinnati got off to a shaky start by giving up 3 runs in the first, but a record crowd of near 55,000 ignited the Reds. Eric Davis blasted a 3-run homer in the second to give Cincinnati the lead, and Dave Parker contributed a home run of his own in the 5th inning. Cincinnati fans were really delighted with Big Dave, who went 3 for 4, including a pair of doubles. Ron Robinson came on in relief, giving up just 1 hit in 3 1/3 innings of work to save the 7-4 victory, and Cincinnati celebrated the return of baseball in glorious fashion. On to Los Angeles, where the Dodgers designed an artful win over San Diego. Opening day in Los Angeles was tempered by disappointment because Dodger slugger Pedro Guerrero is out for 3 months with a knee injury and was present only to throw out the first ball. But new Padre skipper Steve Burrows could not take advantage. Steve Sachs got the Dodgers going in the 2nd inning by driving in a run with a hit that proved to be the game winner. Mike Marshall will have to pick up some of the slack caused by Guerrero's absence, and he did just that with a home run in the 7th inning. But Fernando Valenzuela was the key to LA's win. He went the distance, and he struck out 9 while allowing only 1 run. Fernando also got a little help from his friends. With Guerrero out, the Dodgers played Franklin Stubbs in left field, and he fired a bullet to nail Carmelo Martinez at the plate. The 2-1 final typified what the Dodgers will need to succeed without Guerrero. Great pitching and just enough runs to get by. Now, let's review this week in baseball's TWIB notes from around the National League. Atlanta's Rick Mailer is mighty tough on opening day. He shut out Montreal 6-0 this year, and in last year's opener, he went 7 innings in a 6-0 shutout of Philadelphia. San Francisco rookie Will Clark was a smash hit in his major league debut, cracking a home run to become the 53rd player in history to homer in his very first big league at bat. You might say Clark was mildly pleased with his accomplishment. St. Louis Cardinal John Tudor picked right up where he left off last year, going all the way to beat Chicago in the opener for his 22nd win in 23 regular season games. Last year, Tudor beat the Cubs 3 times and gave up just 1 earned run in 27 innings. Now let's give up the answer to this week's Nissan quiz. Hall of Famer Grover Cleveland Alexander holds the record for most winning seasons by a pitcher with 19. Nicknamed Pete, Alexander ranks third on the all-time list in wins with 373 in 20 seasons. And by the way, fellow Hall of Famer Cy Young is second in number of winning seasons with 18 out of 22 played. He's the all-time leader in career victories with 511. You know, fans, managers spend a lot of time speaking to the media, so they've got to be smooth talkers with silver tongues, but sometimes even the best of them get tongue-tied.
Right, we had that explosion. we had that explosion. Am I on right here now?
Obviously, let's start one more time.
Excuse me, I have trouble seeing.
That's a good question. Why don't you go ask the younger guys?
I have no idea what you mean right now.
He was one of the best pitchers in the National League, or American League.
And I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate Mel Allen and Baseball of the Week.
And we're standing there talking. Hey, boys.
I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate Mel Allen and This Week in Baseball on their 10th anniversary. They do a fantastic job. We enjoy watching you. You bring a lot of enjoyment to the people about Major League Baseball, and that's what it's all about.
Mille grazie, Tommy. Now let's get on the ball with three big league batting instructors who are hitting honchos in their own right. Hitting is perhaps the finest of sporting arts, and when big leaguers need help, they turn to batting coaches, some of whom used to be mighty fine hitters themselves. Darren Johnson is the batting instructor for the Seattle Mariners. In Cleveland, the job belongs to Bobby Bonds, while the great Billy Williams is a roving coach for the Chicago Cubs. Williams spent 18 years in the majors, 16 of them with the Cubs, and he was one of the best hitters of his time. A career .290 batting average, 426 homers, almost 1,500 RBIs, and more than 2,700 hits. Because of numbers like that, players pay attention to Billy's instructions.
In instructing, you've got to have credibility, and Billy Williams, of course, brings great credibility because of his career as a hitter and also his manner in talking to ball players. I think they respect him and get along with him. They like him personally.
It helps to be personable, but it helps even more to know what you're talking about.
Stay on your toe, and you won't come back. You don't want to come back on your heels like that. So you come off the ball. You want to stay on top of the ball here. Right through the ball, like that. On your toe. You go toe, heel, spin. Don't give in like this. That's too loose. And what's going to happen? Your body going to still go forward. Hit the ball. Yeah. You want to go heel. Stop your body, and then swing.
Cleveland batting instructor Bobby Bonds played for 8 teams over 14 seasons, but had his best years with San Francisco. Known for his uncommon blend of speed and power, Bonds was a member of the exclusive 30-30 club, players who hit at least 30 homers and stole at least 30 bases in one season. Bobby now spends his time trying to turn potential into reality.
I just try to take the ability that these ball players have and put a few suggestions that I have when I see what they're doing wrong, and to try to get them on a daily basis to get the best out of their ability. You know, I don't think that I wouldn't say that I made any hitter. I think that I've improved everybody on the ball club.
Darren Johnson was a power hitter who blasted 245 home runs in his 16-year career. He played for 9 teams, but spent his longest tours with Cincinnati and Philadelphia. Johnson's flexibility as an instructor is appreciated by Mariners like Gorman Thomas.
He's the kind of person, he's easy to relate to. He explains things to you, not the way he actually wants you to do them, more or less. I mean, by that I mean this is not the only way to do it. He offers it as a suggestion. You try it. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, well, we'll try something different.
Here's Johnson offering his suggestions to Phil Bradley.
That is the one we're talking about. For some reason, what is that ball? See? For some reason.
The body's coming this toward it.
No, not really. This is going down for some reason. You're right on them ball, and you're hitting them in the right spot. It's just something that the top hand's going under. There.
Whoa.
There. Now, stay on that backside as long as you can, right there. Just like there.
And there you have it. For Seattle, Darren Johnson. For Cleveland, Bobby Bonds. And for the Chicago Cubs, Billy Williams passing it on. Now it's time for This Week in Baseball's 10th anniversary flashback. This week, we're flashing back to 1977. Toronto looked like a frozen tundra for opening day that year, but it didn't matter because Blue Jay baseball began when starting pitcher Bill Singer took to the mound to face Ralph Garr of the Chicago White Sox as almost 48,000 fans looked on.
Here it is, the first pitch in Blue Jay history. It's a strike for the fastball.
The hardy Blue Jay fans were ecstatic when Doug Ault became an instant hero by cracking 2 home runs that day.
Brett deals, hard hit ball, power alley, left center field. Home run! Doug Ault hits the first homer in Blue Jay history and will score the first run.
Reliever Pete Vukovich wrapped up Toronto's victory in its very first game. The final score, 9-5.
Vukovich pitches to him. Ground ball to the shortstop. Up with it. Blue Jays win it.
Opening day in '77 was also the first game in Seattle Mariner history. Almost 58,000 fans packed the Kingdome, but Darrell Johnson's expansion team lost to California 7-0. Ah, well, that's all for now, folks. But see you next week on This Week in Baseball.